Caleb, good morning. Waking up from a blackout drunk, I saw the woman lying next to me. It wasn't my venomous ex-wife, Haley Roth, but her sister, Nora, as pure and innocent as a rabbit. I thought it was one of Haley's traps, but Nora just smiled and played a video on her phone. On the screen was my own sort of performance from last night. Are you insane? Delete that. I roared. She just tilted her head, her expression a sick mix of obsession and adoration. Caleb, from this day on, you're mine. Dare to disobey, and I send this to my sister. I had just escaped the tiger's den, only to fall into the wolf's. A low hum vibrated behind my eyes. It felt like a steel spike had been driven into my temple, then struck with a sledgehammer. Caleb's eyelids were leaden. A wave of hangover nausea churned in his stomach, and his throat was as dry as a desert. He forced his eyes open. Unfamiliar ceiling. An ornate crystal chandelier refracted the pale morning light. This was not his apartment. Shit. Caleb shot upright. The thin duvet slipped off, exposing his lean, muscular chest. Wait. Under the covers, there was someone else. Caleb's blood ran cold. He turned his head, stiffly, inch by inch. Beside him, a woman lay on her side, her long, dark hair spread like seaweed across the snow-white pillow. She revealed a sleeping face so serene it was almost angelic. Her skin was porcelain, her lashes long and curled, her lips a natural cherry blossom pink. She was beautiful, breathtakingly so, but also, de fue familia. Boom. Caleb's mind exploded. This wasn't just anyone. This was Nora Roth, the sister of his vindictive, sociopathic ex-wife, Haley Roth, the woman who had single-handedly destroyed his career and his life. This was the girl who always trailed behind Haley, timid and shy, who barely spoke above a whisper and would blush whenever she saw him, muttering, "Hi, Caleb." The girl who was as pure and unwritten as a blank sheet of paper. What the hell was she doing here? The last vestiges of alcohol vanished from Caleb's system. He threw back the covers and leaped out of bed, frantically scanning his surroundings. It was a presidential suite, dripping with opulence. On the floor, a man's slacks and dress shirt were tangled with a woman's white dress and lace underwear, scattered everywhere. The air was thick with the cloying, ambiguous scent of whiskey and a sweet perfume. It was over. The room spun. What the hell had he done last night? His memory rewound at a frantic pace. Yesterday was the 1-year anniversary of his divorce from Haley. For some godforsaken reason, she had called him, suggesting a civil dinner to finally settle some lingering financial disputes. Caleb hadn't wanted to go, but Haley had threatened him, using the address of his new job as leverage. He had no choice but to show up. At dinner, Haley had been uncharacteristically gentle, constantly refilling his glass. And then he blacked out. He vaguely remembered being helped by someone, entering a soft, warm room. Was this a setup by that lunatic Haley? But why was Nora the one lying here? A storm raged inside Caleb. He looked at the white dress on the floor and suddenly remembered. Nora had been at the dinner last night. She'd been wearing that exact dress, sitting quietly in the corner, playing her usual role as harmless background scenery. Caleb, maybe you should drink less. My sister, He seemed to recall Nora trying to intervene, only to be silenced by a single icy glare from Haley. So, Haley had gotten him drunk and then put her own sister in his bed? That's psycho. What was she trying to do? A chill shot up from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. He'd known Haley for years. He knew exactly how controlling and vengeful she was. She was absolutely capable of something like this. He had to leave. Now, Caleb scrambled to pick up his clothes. Just as he pulled on his pants, a lazy, sleep-husky female voice came from behind him. Caleb, good morning. Caleb froze. He turned around slowly. On the bed, Nora was awake. She didn't scream, or cry, or rage like any normal girl would. She was simply propped on her side, chin resting in her hand, the duvet having slipped down to her chest, revealing a vast expanse of pale skin and delicate collarbones. She just watched him, her eyes, once as clear as a fawn's, now filled with a dense fog he couldn't penetrate. You're awake. Caleb's Adam's apple bobbed. His voice was raw. Nora, listen to me. Last night was a mistake. I was drunk, A mistake. Nora tilted her head and suddenly smiled. It wasn't the shy, timid smile of before. It was predatory, tainted with a hint of amusement. Caleb, she said softly, that's not what you were saying last night. You said you were finally free. You also said. Nora sat up, the duvet falling away completely. She was unbothered by her nakedness as she slowly got out of bed and walked toward him, step by step. With every step she took, Caleb felt an invisible hand squeezing his heart tighter. The Nora in front of him was a stranger. She had the same innocent face, but her eyes had completely changed. They held a look of madness, of absolute possession. Nora, stay back. Caleb felt a danger he had never known before. He backed away. This girl wasn't right. She wasn't a rabbit. She was a goddamn snake. Nora stopped in front of him, stood on her toes, and lightly touched his lips with her cold fingers. Her breath was a warm whisper. Caleb, you were so passionate last night. I loved it. You're insane. Caleb shoved her away. Do you have any idea what your sister— My sister. The smile on Nora's face grew wider and colder. She casually walked over to the nightstand, picked up her phone, and dangled it in front of him. You mean, what would she do if I sent her the video of last night? What? It was like a lightning strike. Caleb's pupils contracted violently. You recorded it. Of course, Nora said, her smile utterly guileless. A first time this precious, of course it had to be documented. Look, Caleb, this angle. You're so handsome. She played a clip. The sound of a man's heavy breathing and a woman's suppressed moans filled the room. The visuals were obscene. Delete it. Nora, fucking delete it now. Caleb's eyes were bloodshot. He lunged for the phone, but Nora sidestepped him with nimble grace. The smile finally vanished from her face, replaced by a chilling, almost pathological obsession. Caleb, she said, dropping the respectful tone she used for his name. From this day on, you're mine. If you dare to disobey. She held up the phone. I'll send this to my sister. To your company. To that new girlfriend you've been seeing for 3 months, the one you're planning to marry. What do you think they'll think of you? A piece of trash who sleeps with his ex-wife's sister. The blood in Caleb's veins turned to ice. His new girlfriend. She knew about her. To escape Haley's shadow, he had moved to a new city, started a new job, and finally, painstakingly, began a new, quiet life. His new girlfriend was a sweet, simple girl. If she saw this video, Caleb couldn't bear to think about it. Nora, what the hell do you want? He growled, his eyes red with fury and fear. It was your sister. She put you up to this, didn't she? How much did she pay you? In his mind, the timid, meek Nora, who couldn't even speak up for herself, was incapable of such a Machiavellian plot. Haley had to be using her as a pawn. That psycho would do anything to make sure he was never happy. My sister. Hearing those words, Nora let out a contemptuous sneer. Caleb, you were married to my sister for 3 years. Do you really know her at all? No. She shook her head, closing the distance between them. Her cold fingertip poked him in the chest. And you don't know me either. Caleb stumbled back until his back hit the cold wall. There was nowhere left to run. You think, Nora said, tilting her head up, her beautiful eyes gleaming with a manic, excited light, that I'm her little puppet. You think she set this up? Nora suddenly leaned into his ear, her voice a whisper only he could hear, uttering a sentence that made his blood run cold. Her plan was to get you drunk and photograph you with some cheap model, so she could take you for every penny you have in the divorce settlement. But Nora straightened up, licking her dry lips, a morbid blush coloring her cheeks. I swapped her drugs. I sent the model away. And then I got into bed myself. Crack. Caleb's mind went completely blank. He stared, wide-eyed, at the familiar yet alien girl before him. This lunatic. She actually— why would you do this? Caleb's voice was shaking. Why? Nora acted as if she'd heard the funniest joke in the world. She snatched a glass from the table and smashed it on the floor. Crash! Glass shards flew everywhere. The sudden violence made Caleb jump. Why? Nora shrieked, all traces of her feigned sweetness gone. You're asking me why? Caleb, for 3 years, I watched what she did to you. She slapped you in front of everyone. She smashed an ashtray over your head. She ripped up the project proposal you worked on for months. She humiliated you like a dog. Caleb was stunned. Those were the deepest, most painful scars of the last 3 years of his life. He thought he was the only one who knew. I know everything. Nora's chest heaved, her eyes turning red. 3 years ago, at that family holiday dinner, she was throwing another one of her tantrums, calling you a worthless loser in front of everyone and telling you to get out. Everyone just watched, but you swallowed your pride, walked over to me, and quietly pushed a plate of truffle mac and cheese, my favorite, in front of me. You even whispered, Nora, don't be scared. Your sister. She's just having a bad day. Caleb's pupils contracted. He remembered. That did happen. At the time, he just felt that Nora was a poor kid, living constantly in Haley's shadow, and he'd instinctively wanted to protect her. He never imagined. From that day on, Nora's voice trembled, but a strange, obsessive smile played on her lips. I made a vow. This man, the only man in the entire world who was ever kind to me, who would protect me. He should be mine. Only I deserve him. That's psycho. She doesn't. Caleb was completely floored by Nora's insane confession. He finally understood. This girl wasn't a wolf in sheep's clothing. She was a full-blown lunatic from top to bottom. A stalker, pathologically obsessed. Nora, you're sick. You need to see a doctor, Caleb said, trying to calm her down. I'm sick. Nora giggled, laughing so hard that tears welled in her eyes. Yes, I'm sick. Loving you is my sickness. And you, she pointed at Caleb, are my cure. Now that the cure is here, how could I possibly let it go? A wave of nausea washed over Caleb. He forced himself to stay calm. He couldn't provoke her. She had the video. Okay. Caleb took a deep breath, raising his hands in a gesture of surrender. Nora, let's not talk about this. Delete the video. I'll handle your sister. We can both pretend last night never happened. Okay? You're still young, you. Delete it. The smile on Nora's face vanished instantly. Caleb, have you failed to grasp the situation? She picked up her phone and, right in front of him, opened her messages. Pinned to the top was a chat with her sister, Haley. Do you believe that if I hit send right now, your entire life will be over? Your sweet, gentle girlfriend. Will she still want a piece of garbage who sleeps with his ex-wife's sister? Your new boss. Will he still promote a degenerate who can't even manage his own family affairs? And my sister. A cruel, triumphant glint appeared in Nora's eyes. She will kill you. No, don't. Caleb's defenses completely crumbled. He could lose everything else, but he couldn't get entangled with Haley again. He couldn't go back to that hell, not for a single day. Don't. Nora was pleased with his reaction. She put her phone away and patted his cheek, as if soothing a puppy. Then be a good boy. Right now, you have two choices. 1, I send out the video. The three of us go down in flames together. I don't care. I've had enough of the Roth family anyway. 2, Nora leaned in, her lips brushing against his ear, her breath hot. You come with me. From now on, you belong only to me. If you dare to even look at another woman, I will gouge her eyes out. If you dare to smile at someone else, I will rip their mouth apart. As for my sister, a bone-deep hatred flashed in Nora's eyes. I want you to personally help me return the decade of pain she's inflicted on me, 100, 1,000 times over. Caleb's heart sank to the bottom of a cold, dark abyss. He looked at the beautiful, twisted face so close to his and finally accepted a single fact. He couldn't escape. Out of the frying pan and into the fire. And this wolf was crazier, more ruthless than the tiger he'd just escaped. Haley's evil was overt, loud, hysterical. But Nora's evil was woven into her very being. It was calm, obsessive, and fueled by a madness that could destroy everything. Caleb's mind raced. He couldn't fight her head-on. She was a powder keg, ready to explode at the slightest spark. He had to placate her first. How can I trust you? Caleb's voice was hoarse. He forced himself to look directly into Nora's eyes. After I help you deal with your sister, you'll really let me go? Delete the video? Let you go. Nora laughed, as if he'd said something ridiculous. She wrapped her arms around his neck like a snake, pressing her soft body against his. Caleb, don't you get it yet? I've spent so many years, put in so much effort to finally. Have you? She whispered obsessively in his ear. How could I ever let you go? I want you for a lifetime. Helping me deal with her is what you're supposed to do, as my man. As for the video, Nora's fingers traced circles on his chest, her tone both intimate and cruel. Of course, it will be kept safely with me, forever. It's proof of our love, isn't it? You, Caleb trembled with rage, blood rushing to his head. This psycho. She never had any intention of letting him go. What she wanted was total imprisonment. What? You're not willing. Nora felt his resistance, and her eyes instantly turned cold. She let go, took a step back, and picked up her phone again. It seems you still prefer my sister. That's fine. I'll make you both happy right now. I'll send her the video. Tell her that the little sister she despises so much slept with the ex-husband she despises even more. I imagine she'll be pleasantly surprised, don't you think? She made a show of pressing the send button. Stop. Caleb let out the most desperate roar of his life. I'll do it. I'll do it. His eyes were crimson as he glared at Nora, his teeth grinding together. I'll help you. Deal with her. Nora's finger stopped a millimeter from the screen. She had won. She knew that Caleb's greatest weakness was his fear of Haley. That's more like it. Nora smiled with satisfaction. She put her phone away, walked over, and picked up Caleb's shirt from the floor, gently helping him put it on. The gesture was like that of a devoted wife. But to Caleb, it felt like being coiled by a cold, venomous snake. Nora, what exactly is your plan for her? Caleb closed his eyes, asking as if resigned to his fate. Right now, he just wanted to know the full extent of this demon's plan. My sister, what does she care about most? Nora said nonchalantly as she buttoned his shirt. Money and reputation. She's the director of marketing at Roth Capital now, right? Climbed the ladder so fast, thanks to my father's connections. Next week, Roth Capital has a signing ceremony for a major S-class project with overseas investors, right? That project was single-handedly orchestrated by my sister. It's the key to her getting a VP promotion by the end of the year. Caleb's stomach dropped. This was all insider information at Roth Capital. How did she know so much? You want to sabotage the signing? Sabotage. Nora laughed, looking up. Her innocent eyes flashed with a viciousness that didn't belong to someone her age. That would be letting her off too easy. I want her on the day of her greatest triumph, in front of all the board members, all the media, all the partners, to be utterly and completely destroyed. Caleb sucked in a sharp breath. What's your plan? Oh, I have one. Nora smiled smugly. My sister's success today is all thanks to the Tide project 3 years ago. But what she never told anyone is that the core concept for that project was something she stole from an intern. What? Caleb was shocked. And Nora clapped her hands together, not only found that intern, who she forced to leave the country, but I also obtained all the threatening emails and wire transfer records she sent him back then. Caleb, Nora's eyes were frighteningly bright. Tell me at the signing ceremony, in front of everyone, if I project all of this onto the main screen. My high and mighty sister, her expression, won't it be spectacular? Caleb's back was completely drenched in a cold sweat. This woman, she was terrifying. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. She had been lying in wait for years, right beside Haley, just for this single, fatal strike. And he was just the fuse she was using to detonate it all. So, what do you need me to do? Caleb asked with difficulty. Nora tilted her head, thinking. You're her ex-husband. You know her habits inside and out. Besides, security will be tight at the signing ceremony. I need someone to help me get backstage and plug a flash drive with the evidence into the main presentation computer. And that someone, she extended her index finger and tapped it on Caleb's chest. Is you. Me? Caleb's eyes widened. How could I possibly get in? I'm her ex-husband. I'll be the first person security stops. Don't worry about that. Nora pulled an ID card from her purse and handed it to Caleb. What's this? An event staff ID for the signing. I had it made for you a while ago. Nora smiled like a little demon. See, Caleb, I've thought of everything. Caleb held the ID card, his own face staring back at him from the plastic. His hand was shaking. He had no choice. Just then, BZZZ. The vibration of a phone shattered the silence in the room. It wasn't Nora's. It was Caleb's. Caleb jolted, diving for his pants pocket and pulling out his phone. 2 words on the screen seared his eyes. Haley time seemed to freeze. The phone vibrated violently in his palm like a harbinger of death. He could imagine Haley on the other end, incandescent with rage. Don't answer, Caleb panicked, his first instinct to decline the call. Why not? A small, cold hand pressed down on his. Nora had appeared behind him, her chin resting lightly on his shoulder, an intimate posture that mimicked a real couple. Answer it. Her voice trembled with a thread of excitement. I so want to hear her voice. Are you crazy? She'll kill me. Caleb hissed, sweat beading on his forehead. With me here, she can't touch you. Nora chuckled, and with a flick of her finger, she answered the call and hit the speakerphone button. Nora, before Caleb could finish his curse, Haley's hysterical roar erupted from the phone. Caleb, Vance. The voice was sharp enough to pierce eardrums. You backstabbing piece of shit. You dare touch my sister. You got a death wish, don't you? You just wait. I'm on my way over right now. I'm going to chop off your filthy hands. And you, Nora. Haley's voice shifted, addressing the audience she assumed was listening. You little bitch. You ungrateful snake. I raised you. Is this how you repay me? You dare steal my man? Fine. Just fine. Both of you. Just wait. I will make you regret this. Click. The call was violently disconnected. The room fell into a dead silence. Caleb's face was drained of all color. He could hear the roar of a car engine in the background just before the line went dead. Haley. She was really on her way. She knows we're at this hotel. Caleb's voice was a ragged whisper. Of course, Nora said with an innocent expression. I sent her our location when I was helping you in last night. Caleb's last thread of sanity snapped. This lunatic. She had calculated everything. She wanted Haley to come. She wanted to watch the show. Don't be scared, Caleb. Nora moved to stand in front of him, gently straightening his rumpled collar. She can't find us here. This is the hotel's presidential suite, registered under my name. She doesn't have a key card. The front desk won't let her up. We still have plenty of time. She stood on her toes, trying to kiss him. Get off me. Caleb shoved her away. A visceral disgust, combined with his terror of Haley, pushed him to the brink of collapse. He ran to the door, pounding on it. Open the door. Nora, fucking open the door. Let me go now. I'll do anything you say. I'll plant the flash drive. I'll help you destroy her. Just let me go. Nora stumbled from the force of his push, hitting the wall. She slowly lifted her head. The smile was completely gone. Caleb, her voice was as cold as ice chips. Are you that scared of her? You're more scared of her than you are of me. Caleb froze. He turned to meet a pair of eyes filled with jealousy, madness, and a deep, raw hurt. What's so good about her? Nora advanced on him, the insanity in her eyes making Caleb's blood run cold. Besides hitting you, screaming at you, and humiliating you, what else can she do? And me? For you, I sold the last thing my mother left me just to get my hands on the core evidence for this project. For you, I was willing to ruin my own reputation. For you, I would give my life. So why? Won't you even look at me? Why? Are you still scared of her? Her emotions spiraled out of control in an instant. Nora, you need to calm down. I am calm. Nora snatched the glass ashtray from the table, identical to the one Haley had thrown at Caleb years ago. Caleb, I'm asking you one more time. Are you mean it? Or hers? Caleb stared at the ashtray, and his PTSD flared. 3 years ago, an ashtray just like that one had hit him right above the eye, leaving a permanent scar. He was scared. He was truly terrified. He wasn't afraid of Haley. He was afraid of this kind of unhinged madness. Yours. I'm yours. He clutched his head, sinking to the floor in humiliation. Nora, I'm yours. Don't get agitated, just put it down. Nora looked down at his trembling form, the madness in her eyes slowly replaced by a sick satisfaction. She tossed the ashtray aside. That's better. She crouched down, wrapping her arms around him from behind, as if calming a frightened pet. Don't be scared, Caleb. She can't get up here. Right now. She's probably a little busy. Busy? Caleb looked up, confused. You think all I sent her was our location? Nora whispered playfully in his ear. I also sent an anonymous email to every single board member at her company. The email said, that director Haley Roth leads a messy private life and was, at this very moment, storming a hotel to catch her own sister in bed with her ex-husband. Tell me, what do you think those old fossils on the board will think when they see that, right before the big signing? Caleb's head snapped up, his eyes wide with disbelief. This woman, she wasn't just trying to destroy Haley's career. She was trying to destroy her reputation, too. This was a multi-layered attack. Nora, for the first time, Caleb's voice held genuine fear. Who are you? Who am I? Nora's smile was sweet and deadly. I'm the only person in the world who loves you. Ding dong. Just then, the doorbell rang. It sounded like the Grim Reaper's summons. Caleb shot to his feet, every hair on his body standing on end. It's her. It's Haley. How did she get up here? He scrambled to the peephole to look. Outside, it wasn't Haley. It was a room service attendant in a hotel uniform. Phew. Caleb let out a breath, his back already soaked with sweat. What are you afraid of? Nora strolled over languidly, tightening the belt on her robe, and glanced through the peephole. Oh, that's my breakfast. She opened the door. The attendant pushed a card in, bowing his head respectfully. Good morning. Your breakfast, as requested. Just leave it there, Nora said coolly. The attendant set up the food, then retreated with the empty cart without another word. The door clicked shut again. Caleb leaned against the wall, feeling like he was about to collapse. This single morning had been more intense than the past 3 years combined. Eat something, Nora said, sitting down at the table and elegantly picking up a knife and fork. You still have to help me. Destroy her, don't you? You can't do that on an empty stomach. Watching her act so calm and collected, a surge of rage flared inside Caleb. Nora, were you fucking with me? With you? Nora raised an eyebrow. You knew Haley couldn't get up here? You were deliberately trying to scare me. I wasn't scaring you, Nora said slowly, cutting in her omelet. I was teaching you, teaching me, teaching you whose orders to follow from now on. Nora looked up, offering a benevolent smile. See, you're much more obedient now, aren't you? Caleb's fists clenched so tight his knuckles cracked. Humiliation, endless humiliation. He had jumped from one fire pit into another, deeper one. He He took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down. He knew that right now, he was nothing more than a dog on Nora's leash. Fighting back would only get him killed. He had to obey her, learn about her, and then find her weakness. Caleb pulled out a chair and sat down across from Nora. He picked up a glass of milk and downed it in one go. "Fine," he said, wiping his mouth, looking at Nora with a new, cold expression. "Tell me what to do." Nora's movements paused. She looked up, slightly surprised. The Caleb in front of her had changed. Just in the last few minutes, that panicked, prey-like aura around him had vanished. It was replaced by an almost numb coldness. Nora's heart, for no reason at all, skipped a beat. She suddenly realized this Caleb, this darkened version of Caleb, was somehow even more captivating. Nora let out a low laugh, her eyes shining with an even more pathological light. "That's it. That's the man I chose." "Caleb, don't worry." She stood up, leaned across the table, and cupped his face in her hands. "As long as you do as I say, help me destroy her. I promise, I will be the most loving, most devoted woman in the world to you. You will have everything you never even dared to dream of." Caleb said, emotionlessly pushing her hand away, "just want to know the plan." "That evidence," he asked coldly. "Where's the flash drive? What's the hurry?" Nora wasn't offended. She sat back down, sipping her coffee with deliberate slowness. "I'll give it to you, of course, but before that you have to do something for me." "What is it?" "My sister is a paranoid woman. Last night's dinner, even though I outplayed her, she'll definitely have her suspicions. Especially since she can't find us, and the board is pressuring her. Right now, she must be like a mad dog, trying to figure out what happened." Caleb frowned. So before she starts investigating me, we need to give her something else to do. Huge problem that will keep her so busy she won't have time for us." A cruel smile spread across Nora's face. "Caleb, do you remember my sister's most precious, treasured weakness?" "Weakness?" Caleb paused, and then a face flashed in his mind. You mean Trevor Reed?" Trevor Reed, a name Caleb would never forget in his life. He was Haley's, one that got away. The only man Haley had ever truly cared about during her 3-year marriage to Caleb. Caleb even knew that the only reason Haley had deigned to marry him was because Trevor had moved abroad, and he was just a substitute. "That's right, him." A flicker of jealousy crossed Nora's eyes. "My sister doesn't love anyone but herself. But Trevor, he's the one exception. Trevor came back to the States recently. For him, my sister spared no expense to buy a mansion in Lake Forest, all for the purpose of hiding him away. She was extremely secretive about it. Not even my father knows. But I do." Caleb's heart sank again. What are you planning?" "Trevor is no saint." Nora's smile was full of malice. "He's married, and his wife is notoriously tough. Tell me, if I were to bring his wife to that mansion, what do you think would happen?" Caleb's pupils shrank. This lunatic, she was going to... "Caleb." Nora stood up and pressed a key card into his hand. "This is the spare key to the Lake Forest mansion. Now," she patted his cheek, "go and help me make this show a little more spectacular." The cold key card felt like a branding iron in Caleb's palm. Go to the Lake Forest mansion and lure Trevor's wife there? This was insane. Haley's old flame and his formidable wife. If they collided, it would be an absolute explosion. Nora placed a finger on his lips. "Don't ask. Just do it." Remember, her eyes were glacial. "You don't have a choice right now. How do I get there?" Caleb closed his eyes, asking in a tone of utter humiliation. "Haley must have people looking for me all over the city. The second I step out of this hotel, her men will be on me." "Relax." Nora snapped her fingers. She went to the closet, pulled out a hotel staff uniform, and tossed it to Caleb. "Change. It's all been arranged." Nora smiled smugly. "In a bit, you'll leave with the room service attendant through the service corridors. My sister's men, no matter how good they are, will only be watching the main entrance and the parking garage. She'll never guess that you'd slip out through the rat hole." "Rat hole?" Caleb's fists turned white. He didn't say another word. Numbly, right in front of Nora, he stripped off his clothes and put on the cheap, coarse staff uniform. "So handsome," Nora whistled, not bothering to hide the desire in her eyes. "Caleb, I'm discovering you look good in anything." Caleb ignored her teasing. He put on the cap, pulling the brim low to hide most of his face. "Trevor's wife's contact info," he said coldly, holding out his hand. "Not so fast." Nora took a tiny earpiece from her bag and put it in Caleb's ear. "Wear this." "What's this?" "A microcommunicator," Nora smiled. "From now on, every step you take, every word you say, I will hear. I'll be across the street from the mansion, directing you remotely. If you dare, try anything funny. She held up her phone and played a snippet of the video. I understand. Caleb's voice was squeezed from between his teeth. He was a human puppet. Ding dong. The doorbell rang again. Nora glanced at her watch. It's time. That's the attendant coming to collect the cart. She went to open the door. It was the same attendant as before, head bowed, silent. Take the cart, Nora said. Yes, ma'am. The attendant started pushing the cart. Nora gave Caleb a look. Caleb took a deep breath, put on a face mask, pulled his cap down low, and followed the attendant, head down, pushing the cart out of the gilded cage that had imprisoned him all morning. The moment he stepped out of the room, Caleb's heart was pounding. The hallway was empty. The attendant pressed the button for the service elevator. They pushed the cart inside. The doors slid shut. Beep! The elevator descended. In the confined space, it was just him and the silent attendant. Caleb's heart was in his throat. He didn't dare look up, didn't dare look at the security camera. He was afraid. Afraid the attendant would suddenly pull a knife. But nothing happened. The elevator reached the B1 service level. The attendant pushed the cart straight ahead. Caleb followed him down a long corridor that smelled of disinfectant. The exit was just ahead. Beyond it, a secluded alley. If he could just get through there. Just then, stop! A sharp voice barked from ahead. Caleb's heart stopped. At the exit, two burly men in black suits rushed in. They were Haley's bodyguards. Caleb recognized them. It was over. They'd found him. Caleb's first instinct was to turn and run. But the attendant behind him reacted even faster. The man who had kept his head down the entire time suddenly snapped his head up, revealing a face Caleb had never seen before. He violently shoved the cart toward the two bodyguards. Crash! The cart tipped over, plates and silverware shattering everywhere. Mr. Vance, go, now! The attendant yelled, then charged the two bodyguards himself, tackling them. Caleb was completely stunned. You don't worry about me. Go! The attendant was surprisingly skilled, and for a moment, the two bodyguards couldn't get near him. I work for Miss Nora. Her orders were to ensure your safety at all costs. Go! Caleb's mind buzzed. Nora, she had even arranged for this? Who the hell was she? There was no time to think. Thud! One of the bodyguards kicked the attendant away and lunged for Caleb. Shit! On pure instinct, Caleb dodged to the side and threw a punch, slamming his fist into the bodyguard's temple. He may have been oppressed by Haley for 3 years, but at 6'1", he wasn't just for show. The bodyguard staggered. Go! The attendant charged again, latching onto the other bodyguard's leg. Go! Caleb glanced at the man fighting for him, clenched his jaw, and didn't hesitate any longer. He spun around and charged out of the service corridor like a raging bull. He burst into the alley, into the sunlight. He was out. He ran frantically through the maze of back streets, the sounds of shouting and fighting growing more distant behind him. In his earpiece, Nora's voice came through, trembling with excitement. Run, Caleb. Run. Ha ha. Run. You run. Just like a dog. The Lake Forest residential area. 13 Aspen Lane. Caleb kept his cap low, hiding behind a thick hedge as he stared at the multi-million-dollar mansion in front of him. In his earpiece, Nora's voice was cold and steady. Going. Trevor's wife, Brenda, has been notified. She's on her way with her people. You have 15 minutes. In the next 15 minutes, you need to get that door unlocked for her. Caleb clutched the keycard, his palms slick with sweat. God damn it. He was a normal guy, now playing the part of some corporate spy and private investigator. He glanced around. It was an exclusive neighborhood, with tight security and cameras everywhere. Ignore the cameras, Nora's voice came through. My people have already hacked the security system. To them, you're invisible right now. Caleb sucked in a sharp breath. Hackers. How many more cards did she have up her sleeve? Hurry up, Caleb. I don't want to repeat myself. Fine. Caleb gritted his teeth, darted out from the bushes, and sprinted to the front door. He swiped the card. Beep. The door unlocked. He slipped inside, closing it softly behind him. The mansion was quiet. The decor was lavish, but a cheap perfume lingered in the air. He's on the second floor. Master bedroom, Nora's voice said, like a ghost in his ear. Caleb's heart leaped into his throat. He crept up the stairs. The master bedroom door was slightly ajar. From inside, he could hear the sounds of a man and woman, laughing flirtatiously. Oh, Trevor, you're so bad. You're the bad one, baby. Come on, let me see. Caleb's stomach churned. This was the precious one that got away that Haley was so obsessed with. Unlock the door, Nora commanded. Caleb looked at the lock. It was an electronic deadbolt, currently engaged from the inside. If he forced it open now, they would know immediately. I can't, Caleb whispered. It'll give me away. Then, don't give them time to lock it. Nora's voice held a hint of smile. You go downstairs, now, and kill the power. What? Go. Her people will be here in 5 minutes. Caleb didn't dare waste a second. He turned and rushed downstairs, finding the circuit breaker box. Pull it. Caleb grit his teeth and yanked the main switch down. Click. The entire mansion was plunged into darkness. A woman's scream came from upstairs. What the hell? Did the power go out? Trevor's voice was panicked. Trevor, I'm scared. Scared of what? I'll go check. Frantic footsteps echoed from the second floor. Trevor, cursing under his breath, opened the bedroom door and stepped out. The moment he did, bang, 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 the front door of the mansion was being pounded on from the outside. Trevor Reed, you son of a bitch. Get your ass out here. A woman's voice shrieked, sharp as a chainsaw. I know you're in there, and I know you've got a whore with you. Open this door. Upstairs, the color drained from Trevor's face. Be Brenda? He panicked, completely panicked. He stumbled down the stairs, trying to block the door. Don't open it. Don't. Crash. The front door was smashed open with a battering ram. A dozen burly men stormed in, flanking a woman in a fur coat with a face like thunder. Trevor. The woman, Brenda, saw him standing there in nothing but his boxers, and her eyes turned red. You no good bastard. I give you money to run your business, and you use it to keep a mistress on the side? Honey, listen to me. It's not what you think. This is explain my ass. Brenda slapped him hard across the face. Smack. The sound was crisp and loud. Find her, she roared. Drag that little bitch out here for me. The men charged up the stairs like a pack of wolves. Suna, who are you? Get away from me. The other woman's terrified screams echoed from the second floor. Got her. 2 men dragged a woman wrapped only in a towel down the stairs, her face pale with terror. So it's you, Trevor. Brenda trembled with rage. I'm out there busting my ass, and you're using my money to play with girls half your age? Get her. At her command, several women rushed forward and began tearing at the mistress. Stop. It wasn't my fault. Slap, slap, slap. The sounds of smacks, screams, and sobs turned the mansion into a war zone. And Caleb watched it all from the shadows behind the breaker box. He watched the man who was supposed to be Haley's debonair old flame, now kneeling on the floor, clinging to his wife's leg, crying and snot-nosed. Brenda, I was wrong. I'll never do it again. She seduced me. Tooey. Brenda spit on his face. A leopard never changes its spots. We're getting a divorce, and you're going to give back every single cent I ever gave you. Just as the drama reached its peak, a black Maserati pulled up silently at the curb. The door opened. She had come after all. Haley stood at the entrance, surveying the wreckage. Her body was shaking, not from anger. Well, from anger, but mostly from fear. Trevor was her only weakness. She could lose Caleb. She could lose her reputation, but she could not lose Trevor. And now, her most prized possession was being trampled underfoot. Stop it. Haley stormed in, her voice shrill. Who are you? I'll let you in here. Get out. Brenda, already furious, turned to see another immaculately dressed woman. Oh, another one. What? Are you one of this bastard's whores, too? You? Haley's chest heaved. Do you have any idea who I am? I don't give a damn who you are. Brenda wasn't having any of it. You mess with my man, you get the same treatment. Get her. She motioned for her people to attack Haley as well. Stop. Trevor, still on the floor, saw Haley and looked as if he'd seen a savior. He scrambled to his feet and hid behind her. Haley, save me. This psycho is going to kill me. The room fell silent. Even Brenda paused. She looked from Trevor to Haley. Haley, well. Brenda's anger turned into a vicious laugh. So you're the main event. Trevor, you've really outdone yourself. Using my money to keep 2 of them on the side. No, that's not it. Brenda, she's just a friend. A friend? Do you think I'm an idiot? Brenda pointed at Haley. This mansion, it's in your name, isn't it? Director Haley Roth. The color drained from Haley's face. How'd she know? Not only do I know that, I also know you've been embezzling company funds to pay off his debts. Brenda threw a stack of photos from her purse. They were all candid shots of Haley and Trevor looking intimate in various locations. Haley Roth, you bitch. You can expect to hear from my lawyer. Embezzlement and adultery. I'm going to ruin you. No. Haley stared at the photos, completely broken. She knew. It was over. Everything she had meticulously built was gone. And the architect of all this. Haley's head snapped up, her venomous eyes locking onto the shadows where Caleb was hiding. She saw him. Caleb. Vance. Haley let out an inhuman shriek. It was you. You did this, didn't you? You bastard. You dared to get revenge on me. She lunged at him like a wild animal. Caleb's heart hammered in his chest. He couldn't let her catch him. He couldn't go back to that hell. But as Haley charged, Caleb didn't run. He stepped out of the shadows. He walked right toward her in front of everyone. And just as Haley was about to grab him, he smiled. A cold, cruel smile. He raised his hand. Smack! A slap so loud it echoed through the room. It landed squarely on Haley's face. Time stopped. Everyone was stunned. Haley was stunned. She held her cheek, looking at Caleb in disbelief. This man she had hit and screamed at for 3 years, a man who wouldn't even dare to look her in the eye. He had hit her. You. That one, Caleb's voice was calm, but filled with an endless chill, was for the ashtray you smashed over my head 3 years ago. Haley, he took a step closer, looking down at the woman who had once terrified him to his core. You always said I was a dog you kept on a leash. Well, you should remember, even a corner dog will bite back. You. Haley trembled with fury. You hit me? I'll kill you. She lunged at him again, claws out. Caleb sidestepped her, and at the same time, stuck his foot out. Thump! Haley Roth, the queen who was always so composed and superior, went down hard, landing flat on her face on the cold marble floor. Dead silence. Wah! Haley cried. She had never been so utterly humiliated in her entire life. She lay on the floor like a child, screaming and pounding her fists. Caleb, I'm going to kill you. Caleb gave her one last, cold look. Then he turned. Under the stunned gazes of everyone in the room, he walked, calmly and deliberately, out of the war zone. He had won. This was his first successful counterattack against Haley. He walked out of the mansion. In his earpiece, Nora's voice came through a pathological, almost orgasmic gasp. Caleb, the way you looked just now. So hot. I'm so in love with you. Caleb walked out of the Lake Forest neighborhood. The glaring sun made him dizzy. He took off the staff uniform and threw it into a trash can. That slap had taken almost all his strength. It felt as if it had shattered the shackles of the past 3 years. It felt good, better than he could have imagined. But after the rush came a deeper chill. He had completely burned the bridge with Haley. And in doing so, he had chained himself completely to Nora. Where to? Caleb asked into the earpiece, his voice flat as he walked numbly down the street. Come to my place. Nora's voice was still husky with arousal. I'm sending you the address. Ping. A location pin appeared on his phone. An apartment building in a neighborhood he didn't recognize. Caleb hailed a cab. Half an hour later, he was standing in front of a high-end apartment building. Nora didn't live with her family? He took the elevator to the 23rd floor and rang the bell. The door opened quickly. Nora stood there in a silk house robe, her hair damp. She had obviously just showered. You're back, she smiled, like a little wife waiting for her husband to come home. She moved to hug him. Caleb, stone-faced, sidestepped her. The drive, he said the 2 words like ice. The flash drive to destroy Haley. Give it to me. Oh, don't be in such a rush. Nora wasn't offended. She turned and swayed into the living room. First, come see the home I made for you. Caleb followed her in, frowning. It was a massive open-plan apartment, but the decor was minimalist, almost cold. White, gray, black. The entire place felt sterile, devoid of life. You live here alone? I do, Nora said, grabbing a bottle of water from the fridge and tossing it to him. I moved out the day I turned 18. I couldn't stand being in that house. For one more second. For some reason, Caleb's heart sank. Nora, you want to ask why I hate her so much? Nora leaned against the kitchen island, swirling a glass of red wine, and laughed at herself. Did you know, Caleb? My mother isn't her mother. I'm the illegitimate one. Caleb's pupils contracted. What? My mother was my father's first love. It was Haley's mother who used unsavory methods to get pregnant with her, forcing my mom away so she could marry into the Roth family. Later, my mother gave birth to me, but she got sick. When she was dying, my father finally went against that woman's wishes and brought me into the family. From the first day I stepped into that house, a bone-deep chill flashed in Nora's eyes. Haley and her mother never treated me like a human being. They called me a bastard, the daughter of a whore. They cut up my dolls, ripped up my homework. They locked me in the basement for 3 days and 3 nights. And my spineless father, Nora's eyes filled with contempt. For the sake of the family business, for that woman's family connections, he never said a damn thing. In that whole house, the only person who ever showed me any warmth. She looked up, gazing at Caleb with adoration. Was you? Do you understand now, Caleb? I'm not crazy. I'm just taking back what was always supposed to be mine, including you. Caleb was silent. He finally understood. This girl wasn't just some twisted obsessive. She was a flower of vengeance, grown in the most toxic soil imaginable. Her possessiveness of him, it was her only pathological form of salvation in a world that had given her nothing. Now, Nora's eyes glinted with excitement. Haley's precious old flame was caught with his pants down by his own wife. Her biggest safety net is gone. At the company, the scandal of her embezzling funds and her messy private life has already broken. The board is already holding an emergency meeting to remove her from her position. She has no time to worry about you anymore, Caleb. Nora put down her wine glass and walked toward him. Now, it's our turn to deliver. The final blow. She reached into the neckline of her robe and pulled out a black flash drive. This is all the evidence of her stolen concept. Caleb, Nora's smile was brilliant and brutal. The signing ceremony is the day after tomorrow. That bitch Haley, she'll definitely still try to show up, to make one last desperate stand. She pressed the flash drive into his hand. Will go and plug this into the main console for me. I want her to be nailed to a cross of shame, in front of the entire world. Caleb looked down at the small flash drive in his hand. This was the final straw that would break Haley. Was he really going to do this? What? Are you having second thoughts? Nora's gaze instantly turned dangerous. Do you still feel sorry for her? No. Caleb looked up, his eyes a sheet of cold, numb ice. I don't feel sorry for her. He turned his hand, closing his fingers over hers. I was just thinking, after we destroy her. He leaned in close to her ear, his voice a demonic whisper. That video. When do I get to enjoy it? Nora froze. She never expected Caleb to say something like that. Wasn't he supposed to be disgusted by it, terrified of it? He was actively asking to see it. She looked into Caleb's cold, emotionless eyes. And then, she smiled. A wild, uninhibited laugh. Caleb, you really are a demon. I love it so much. She threw herself at him, clinging to him like a koala, frantically kissing his face, his neck. Caleb didn't move. He let her kiss him, but his gaze drifted past her shoulder, fixing on a corner of the living room. I'll take the drive, he said calmly. The day after tomorrow, I'll get it done. And after it's done, he paused. I want that video. Every copy. Yes. It's all yours. Nora, completely high on excitement, jumped off him and grabbed his hand, pulling him toward the bedroom. Come on, let me show you. Our home. Caleb let her pull him, pushing open a bedroom door. And then, he stopped. His blood, for the second time that day, seemed to freeze solid. This wasn't a bedroom. It was a shrine. There was no bed, just walls covered in photos. They were all of him. Caleb. There was a photo of him at his wedding, wearing a suit, forcing a smile. A photo of him on his balcony, smoking, his face etched with exhaustion. A photo of him cooking in the kitchen. A photo of him on the street, feeding a stray cat. There was even a photo of him from this morning in the hotel suite, looking pathetic in a staff uniform. The photos covered 3 entire walls, spanning the last 3 years. To today. Nora. Caleb's voice was raw dry. Do you like it? Nora wrapped her arms around him from behind, pressing her cheek against his back in a gesture of pure obsession. I made this for you. I sleep here every night, looking at your pictures, thinking about you. It's the only way I can fall asleep. Caleb felt a chill shoot up his spine, straight to his brain. This woman, she didn't love him. She was dissecting him. She had turned him into a specimen. Caleb. Nora's hands began to roam, slipping inside his shirt. Today, you're finally here. You are mine. From now on, you'll live here, with your past. She pulled him toward the only piece of furniture in the room, a single chair in the center. She pushed him down into it. Don't move. A morbid, feverish blush crept onto Nora's face. Caleb, do you know what I like most? What I love most is this look on your face right now, wanting to fight back, but utterly powerless, completely at my mercy. That expression. She slowly knelt before him. Now, she looked up, her gaze full of adoring obsession. It's my turn to serve you. My sister. She never knew just how good you really are. Caleb sat in the chair, looking down at the woman who had completely descended into madness. He didn't move. He just slowly closed his eyes. He knew, the moment he slapped Haley, the moment he decided to use Nora, he had crossed a line. There was no going back.